How's it going, everybody? Welcome back to the Dungeon Sonus channel. My name is Cameron, and I will be your narrator for today. This is episode 6 in my Curse of Strahd campaign module audiobook, and is part 2 for Chapter 4, Castle Ravenloft. To close off the chapter, we'll be going over the final few floors to the home of Barovia's cursed lord. This includes the upper spires of the castle and the deep underground system to where the dead are laid to rest. So with all that being said, sit back, relax, and enjoy. Spires of Ravenloft. Refer to maps 6 through 10 of Castle Ravenloft for areas K47 through K60. K47, Portrait of Strahd. You come to a dark landing 10 feet wide and 20 feet long. A cold draft of wind rushes down the spiral staircase at the north end of the east wall and whistles mournfully through the room before streaming down the stairs to the south. An ornate, square rug covers the floor to the south. Set into the west wall is an iron-bound wooden door with a wooden trapdoor set into the floor in front of it. Hanging on the north wall above the trapdoor is a framed portrait of a handsome, well-dressed man with a serene yet penetrating gaze. The ornate rug is actually a rug of smothering. It attacks creatures other than undead that move across it or anyone who tries to move it or otherwise disturb it. Underneath the rug is a bare stone floor. The wooden square trapdoor is 4 feet on a side and as thick as the floor, with receded iron hinges and an iron ring built into the side opposite the hinges. Pulling up on the ring opens the door. Below the trapdoor, characters can see one of two things, either a 170-foot deep shaft, area K31A, or, if the elevator trap has been activated, see area K61, a stone elevator compartment with a secret hatch in its top. The portrait on the wall depicts Strahd von Zarovich before he became a vampire. Even in life, he was pale. The eyes of the portrait seem to watch and follow the characters as they explore the area. The picture frame is bolted to the wall and can't be removed without destroying it. If the characters attack the rug or the picture, or if they attempt to remove either item, the guardian portrait, see Appendix D, attacks. K48, off stair. This spiraling staircase is dark and dusty. This stairway rises from area K47 past area K54 to area K57. K49, lounge. As thunder shakes the tower, heavy beams groan under the weight of the ceiling. 3 ornate lanterns hang by chains from these beams, each casting a dim glow. The curved west wall is fitted with 3 windows of leaded glass and steel lattice work. A bookcase sits on the east wall between 2 doors. Plush, overstuffed chairs and couches are placed about the room. The fabric has faded with age, and the patterns it depicts are nearly gone. Lounging on one couch is a handsome young man whose attire, while elegant, is worn and faded. The youthful man on the couch is Escher, a dashing vampire spawn to whom Strahd has shown favor in the past. Escher is feeling somewhat neglected of late, and has retreated here until Strahd's mood improves. If attacked, he hurls himself out the window and lands like a cat on the roof of the keep, area K53. He leads pursuers right to Strahd, wherever the lord of the castle happens to be, and regardless of whether the characters are ready to face Strahd. In conversation, Escher displays wit with a hint of melancholy. Beneath his arc mood is a dread that Strahd is growing bored of him, and will lock him in the catacombs, area K84, with Strahd's other cast-off consorts. The leaded windows are fitted with iron hinges and can be opened. They can be locked from the inside, though they are currently unlocked. The leaded glass doesn't allow for much of a view. If a character opens a window and leaves it open, there's a 50% chance that a vampire spawn crawling around the outside wall of the tower notices the open window and investigates. The books in the bookcase have no value and aren't much help to the characters. Some of the titles found on the bookshelf include Embalming, the Lost Art, Life Among the Undead, Learning to Cope, Castle Building 101, and Goats of the Balanok Mountains. Treasure. On the third finger of his left hand, Escher wears a platinum ring engraved with tiny roses and thorns, worth 150 gold pieces. Around his neck, he wears a gold and ruby pendant, worth 750 gold pieces. K50, Guest Room. A large bed sits in the center of this room, its 4 corner posts supporting a black canopy trimmed with gold tassels. Several comfortable divans are placed about the room. There is a banded door in the west wall and a smaller unbanded door in the east wall. There is no danger in this area during the day, but if the characters try to take a short rest here during the night, the rest is interrupted by the arrival of 1d4 Barovian witches from area K56. They try to subdue the party with sleep spells. A witch retreats to area K56 if wounded. K51, Closet. This small, wood-paneled room reeks of mildew and has a 10-foot high ceiling. Iron hooks line the walls, and a dusty black cloak hangs from one hook in the center of the south wall. The cloak is ordinary. The witches in area K56 placed it here to help them remember which hook opens the secret trapdoor in the ceiling. The trapdoor can be found after a search of the room and a successful DC 13 Wisdom Perception check. Locating the trapdoor doesn't enable someone to discover its opening mechanism. The door has a hidden lock and can be opened by pulling down on the hook from which the black cloak hangs. Once it has been found, the trapdoor can be opened by pulling on the hook, or it can be unlocked by someone using thieves' tools, a knock spell, or similar magic. It swings open when unlocked. K52, Smokestack. Jutting from the steeply sloping rooftop of the castle, a spindly smokestack, 5 feet in diameter at the top, rises 30 feet above the roof's peak. Smoke belches from its iron-pronged capstone. The chimney leads down 60 feet to the blazing fireplace in area K37. A creature that starts its turn in the chimney takes 3 1d6 fire damage. K53, Rooftop. Rain splashes against the sagging, sloping rooftop. Flashes of lightning illuminate gargoyles perched on the roof's end peaks, their hideous stares forever fixed on the courtyard some 130 feet below. If a character tries to traverse the rooftop, read, some of the ancient roof tiles slide easily underfoot, easily dropping into the fog-shrouded darkness. Each falling tile resounds with a hollow click as it hits the flagstones of the parapet or courtyard below. A character must succeed on a DC 15 Dexterity Acrobatics check to traverse the roof. The check succeeds automatically if the character crawls. If the check fails by 5 or more, the character slides off the edge of the roof and falls 40 feet to the castle parapet, area K46. K54, Familiar Room. The low ceiling of this 20-foot square room presses down on you. Torn and broken couches lie in heaps, haphazardly strewn about. Deep claw marks cover the hardwood furniture, and the once lush upholstery has been sliced to shreds. From the dark shadows amid the rubble, 3 pairs of green eyes stare back at you. The 3 cats are familiars of the witches in area K56. If the familiars see the characters here, the witches are alerted to their presence. K55, Element Room. Heavy beams support the ceiling of this large room, the outer wall of which curves to follow the shape of the tower. Dim light filters into the room through the steel lattice squares of 2 leaded glass windows. Several tables stand throughout the room, weighed down by stacks of glass jars and bottles, all of them bearing labels. The labeled glass containers hold various elements that the witches use in their fell concoctions and rituals. The labels identify such items as Eye of Newt, Hair of Bat, Snail Hearts, and Frog's Breath. There are no magic potions among the bottles and jars. The leaded windows are fitted with iron hinges and can be opened. They are currently locked from the inside. If a character opens a window and leaves it open, there is a 50% chance that a vampire spawn crawling around the outside wall of the tower notices the open window and investigates. Characters who search the room spot numerous boot prints in the dust, as well as a short trail in the dust on the floor, leading from the northeast corner of the room to the easternmost door. It looks like something heavy was dragged across the floor towards the doorway. There is a secret trapdoor in the northeast corner of the floor. Because of the trail through the dust, the trapdoor can be found without an ability check. Tapping or knocking on the trapdoor 3 times releases a hidden latch, causing the trapdoor to swing down. Area K51 lies below. There's no ability check that will let the characters figure out the trick to open the door. They can get the information from the witches, or perhaps by using a divination spell or similar magic. K56, Cauldron. Characters who stand outside the door to this room can smell a pungent odor coming from within. If the witches in this room have not been warned that the characters are coming, the characters can hear their horrid cackling. If the characters open the door slightly, they witness the scene described below. Green glowing wisps of steam bubble up from a fat, black cauldron in the center of this dark, oppressive room. Surrounding the cauldron are several gaunt women in soiled black robes. These witches sit hunched on tall wooden stools, their tangled hair tucked under black, pointed hats. They take turns tossing ingredients into the cauldron, uttering fell incantations and cackling maniacally. If the witches know the characters are coming, read the following text instead. Green glowing wisps of steam bubble up from a fat black cauldron in the center of this dark, oppressive room. Surrounding the cauldron are 7 tall wooden stools. The Barovian witches, see Appendix D, that dwell in this area have sworn themselves to Strahd's service in exchange for arcane power. 7 witches are present when the characters arrive, minus any that might have been encountered and defeated in Area K50. If the witches are expecting the characters, they cast invisibility spells and stand quietly in the corners of the room, hoping that the cauldron draws their prey inside. Although they prefer to attack at range with their spells, they can grow magic claws using Alter Self. When the cauldron is touched by someone who also speaks the proper command word, Gora, it magically heats any liquid placed inside it and remains hot for 3 hours, or until the command word is spoken again by someone within 5 feet of the cauldron. Once the cauldron's property has been used, the cauldron can't be activated again until the next dawn. Captured witches will trade information in exchange for their lives and freedom, and can be forced to divulge the command word for activating and deactivating the cauldron. They also know how to open the trapdoor in Area K55. Treasure. Each witch carries a potion of healing that she made herself. There is a 30% chance that a potion has gone bad, in which case it's actually a potion of poison. Not visible from the entrance is a small table behind the cauldron on which sits an open spellbook, seemingly on the verge of falling apart. The book is evil. Any non-evil creature that touches it or starts its turn with the book in its possession takes 5 1d10 psychic damage. The book contains the following spells. First level, Burning Hands, Charm Person, Detect Magic, Find Familiar, Fog Cloud, Mage Armor, Protection from Good and Evil, Ray of Sickness, Sleep, Tasha's Hideous Laughter, Unseen Servant, and Witch Bolt. Second level, Alter Self, Arcane Lock, Cloud of Daggers, Darkness, Enlarge Reduce, Invisibility, Knock, and Misty Step. K57, Tower Roof. The 60-foot diameter tower roof is rimmed with battlements. A slender stone bridge with no railing spans the gap between this tower and the slightly taller tower to the north. To the east, the high tower of Ravenloft thrusts skyward with no apparent opening at this level. Black, boiling clouds hurl rain down from above. The courtyard is 190 feet below, the roof of the keep 80 feet below. A stone railing encloses a stone spiral staircase that descends into the tower. K58, Bridge. A strong wind blows across this slender bridge of stone and masonry. The bridge's old iron railings have rusted away years ago, leaving the bridge without handholds. The bridge connects areas K20 and K57. The wind isn't strong enough to knock creatures off the bridge, but a creature that takes damage while standing on the bridge must succeed on a DC 10 dexterity saving throw or fall 60 feet onto the roof of the keep. K59, High Tower Peak. If the characters climb the stairs to reach the tower peak, read, the spiral staircase finally ends at a 5-foot wide stone walkway that circles the shaft. In the center of the tower's highest floor, a 15-foot diameter hole drops into the cold heart of Ravenloft itself. Cold air rushes up out of the shaft, sending a chill through you. Arrow slits line the walls, and aging beams support a steep cone-shaped roof. One beam and part of the roof have fallen away, leaving a gaping hole open to the stormy sky. The hole in the floor forms the mouth of an enclosed shaft, Area K18A, that descends 450 feet to the castle catacombs, Area K84. Piddlewick II. Hiding in the rafters is Piddlewick II, see Appendix D. A character spots Piddlewick II with a passive wisdom perception score that meets or exceeds its dexterity stealth check. If Piddlewick II is spotted, read, something lurks among the rafters. A small, spindly man not much larger than a child. A flash of lightning illuminates his face, which is painted like a grinning jack-o'-lantern. Although he appears to be a petite man wearing face paint in a fool's costume, Piddlewick II is actually a clockwork effigy of the real-life Piddlewick, who lies entombed in the catacombs. The dark paint on his face is soot. If the characters see Piddlewick II in bright light, read, it's obvious that you're looking not at a small man, but a mockery of one. This thing is not a creature of flesh and bone, but a construct made of dyed leather stitched and tightly wrapped over an articulated frame. You hear the soft tumbling and clicking of gears. Piddlewick II can't speak and doesn't have an expressive face, so he relies mostly on hand gestures and simple diagrams to communicate. He understands Common, but can't read or write. If the characters show kindness to the clockwork effigy, it accompanies them and tries its best to be helpful and entertaining. It knows its way around the castle and can serve as a silent guide. If one or more characters are mean toward Piddlewick II, its quiet resentment of them grows, and at some point when the group is at the top of a staircase, it pushes one of the offending party members down the stairs. The target must succeed a DC 10 dexterity saving throw or tumble to the bottom of the staircase, taking 1d6 bludgeoning damage per 10 feet fallen. K60, North Tower Peak. If the characters climb the stairs to this area, read, the stairs end at a dark and dreary room with manacles attached to the walls. In the middle of the room is a wood-framed bed fitted with leather restraints. At the foot of the bed rests a closed iron chest, its lid sculpted with an emblem. A wooden ladder leads up to a trapdoor in the ceiling. Thin streams of water drip through the trapdoor's rotting wood, forming a puddle around the base of the ladder. The ceiling here is 9 feet high. The manacles are rusted and can be easily torn from the walls. The trapdoor in the ceiling leads to the tower rooftop, area K60A. The emblem worked into the lid of the iron chest is Strahd's family crest. Show the players Strahd's crest. Cyrus Bellevue, see area K62, stashed the chest here for safekeeping. Treasure. The iron chest is locked, and its key is with Cyrus Bellevue in area K62. The chest contains a bejeweled gold crown worth 2,500 gold pieces, resting on a silk pillow. Teleport destination. Characters who teleport to this location from area K78 arrive in the middle of the room. Fortunes of Ravenloft. If your card reading reveals that a treasure is here, it is in the iron chest. If your card reading indicates an encounter with Strahd in this area, he is standing next to the iron chest. K60A, North Tower Rooftop. A cold wind greets you atop the tower roof, its rain-slicked flagstones surrounded by a 20-foot diameter ring of stone battlements. The thunderclouds above suddenly coalesce into the terrible visage of Strahd. The face utters a ghastly moan as thousands of bats fly out of its gaping maw and descend upon the tower. Characters who remain on the roof are accosted by 10 swarms of bats, which arrive in 3 rounds. If the characters descend into the tower, the bats don't follow and instead fly into the high tower, area K59, descend its central shaft, area K18A, and roost in the catacombs, area K84. The courtyard lies 260 feet below, and the roof of the keep is 130 feet below. Larders of Ill Omen. Refer to map 11 of the castle for areas K61 through K72. K61, Elevator Trap. See area K31 and the accompanying elevator trap diagram before running this encounter. This dusty 10-foot wide, 30-foot long corridor has a flat ceiling 10 feet overhead. To the south, a web-filled stairway spirals down into darkness. The north end of the hall ends at a wooden door. This hallway contains an elevator trap, triggered when at least 400 pounds of pressure is applied to the 10-foot square section of floor in the center of the hall, marked T on the map, or when the lever in area K31 is raised. A party of adventurers moving in close formation down the hall is certainly heavy enough to trigger the trap. A character who searches for traps while crossing the hall and succeeds on a DC 15 Wisdom Perception check detects seams in the floor, walls, and ceiling that suggest that the middle section isn't attached to the rest of the hall. A character who makes a successful DC 15 Intelligence Investigation check discerns that the trap can't be disarmed from this location. The middle 10-foot section of the hall is a cleverly hidden elevator compartment, open to the north and south so that it appears to be part of the passageway. When the trap is sprung, 2 steel portcullises drop from the ceiling at lightning speed to seal off the compartment, trapping within those creatures that triggered the trap. An instant later, the closed-off elevator is propelled up the western half of a 20-foot wide, 170-foot tall shaft, area K31A, to the sounds of turning gears and rattling chains. Magic sleep gas fills the compartment as it rises, and a creature trapped inside must succeed on a DC 15 Constitution saving throw or fall unconscious as though affected by a sleep spell. At the same time the elevator rises, a 10-foot cube of granite suspended from heavy chains descends in the eastern half of the shaft, acting as a counterweight. The massive block lands gently at the bottom of the shaft, filling the previously open 10-foot by 10-foot space adjacent to where the elevator stood. The block weighs thousands of tons and pulverizes anything in the space where it comes to rest. Once the elevator starts rising, its portcullises are locked in place and can't be lifted. The walls of the shaft are nearly flush with the elevator compartment. Only a few inches of space exist between the portcullises and the shaft walls. All creatures trapped inside the elevator, including unconscious ones, must roll initiative. The compartment takes one round to reach the top of the shaft, stopping just beneath area K47. Each creature inside has one turn to act before the compartment comes to a dead stop. Their initiative rolls determine the order in which the occupants act. Conscious party members can take whatever actions they like. They might search for a way out, wake sleeping party members, cast spells, or take other actions. Unconscious ones can do nothing. A character who uses an action to search the ceiling of the elevator finds a secret trapdoor with a successful DC 10 Wisdom Perception check. The trapdoor opens downward. Any creature on top of the elevator, when it reaches the top of the shaft, must succeed a DC 15 Dexterity saving throw to avoid being crushed against the ceiling of the shaft. The character takes 44 8d10 bludgeoning damage on a failed save, or half as much damage on a successful one. When the elevator comes to a stop, its portcullises retract. The elevator remains at the top of the shaft until the lever in area K31 is moved to the down position. When that happens, the trap resets in one round, the portcullises come down, and the elevator compartment descends to its place in the hallway at the bottom of the shaft as the stone block rises to the top of the shaft. When the elevator reaches the bottom, its portcullises rise again. Development. The sound of the elevator moving can be heard throughout the castle. Characters who are trapped or asleep in the elevator compartment are easy prey for Strahd, who can reach them by way of the trapdoor in area K47. K62, Servants' Hall. This hall stands in deadly silence, heavy beams supporting a sagging 10-foot-high ceiling. Fog clings to the floor, obscuring everything that lies less than 3 feet above it. A giant shadow lurches across the ceiling as a dark figure shuffles purposefully down the corridor towards you. The figure approaching is Cyrus Bellevue, a mongrel folk, see Appendix D, and Strahd's faithful servant. He stands 4 foot 9 inches tall, but appears shorter because of his hunched posture. He has the keen hearing and smell feature. The left side of his face is covered with lizard scales, and he has the ears of a panther. His left foot looks like a duck's webbed foot, and his arms have patches of black dog fur. The light in the hall comes from a lantern on the floor behind Cyrus. If the characters have their own light sources, Cyrus sees them, but he will not attack first. He wears a loop of twine around his neck, hanging from which an iron key and a decorative wooden pendant fitted with a varnished human eyeball. The key unlocks the iron chest in area K60. The wooden pendant is a hag eye given to Cyrus by the night hag Morgantha, see Chapter 6, so that she could spy on Strahd. Cyrus doesn't know that the necklace is magical. See the Hag's Coven sidebar in the Hag's entry in the Monster Manual for information about the Hag Eye. Poor old Cyrus is obviously crazy. He has served the Master for uncounted years and is devoted to him. Cyrus tries to get the characters to retire to their room in the tower, area K49. If the characters aren't sure what room he is talking about, he offers to lead them there. If the characters follow Cyrus, he tells them to stay close to him as he leads them through the south door to area K61 and deliberately sets off the elevator trap there. Cyrus tries his best not to succumb to the sleeping gas as the elevator compartment climbs the shaft, area K31, and he has advantage on the saving throw. Assuming he's still conscious when the elevator compartment reaches the top of the shaft, Cyrus opens the trapdoor to area K47 and either leads the characters to area K49 or, if they're unconscious, drags them there. After assuring characters who are conscious that the Master will be along shortly, Cyrus then makes his way back downstairs to the kitchen, area K65. If the characters don't go to their room, Cyrus shakes his head and returns to work of prepping his dinner in area K65. If the characters take his key, he screams, "The Master will not be pleased!" and begins to moan and slap his head, obviously upset. A successful DC 10 Charisma Intimidation check is enough to make him divulge the key's purpose, the location of the iron chest, and the chest's contents. When he isn't being threatened, Cyrus giggles to himself from time to time for no clear reason. He also likes to tell poor jokes at the most inopportune moments. Stairs at the east end of the north wall lead up to area K23. Along the east wall is a rusted but sturdy iron portcullis that bars the way to area K63. If the characters peer through the portcullis, read the box text for area K63. The portcullis bars are 1 inch thick and spaced 4 inches apart. The portcullis can be lifted with a successful DC 20 strength check. The double doors at the west end of the hall are made of heavy planks banded with steel. They open into area K67. K63, wine cellar. Arched frames of stone form a low, wet ceiling over this wine cellar. Great casks line the walls, their bands rusting, and their contents long since spilled onto the floor. A few hungry rats make their home here, but upon your sudden arrival, they retreat to the shadows. The rats are harmless. Cyrus Bellevue, see area K62, treats them like pets. Characters who search the room find a crack at the southern end of the west wall. The crack is half an inch wide, 5 inches tall, and 12 inches deep. It leads to area K18. Wine casks. Each of the 12 large casks here rests on its side in a heavy wooden brace. 3 casks stand against the north wall, 6 against the east wall, and 3 against the south wall. Decorative lettering is burned into the top of each cask, showing the winery name, the Wizard of Wines, and the name of the wine in the cask. Northern casks. All 3 of these casks are rotted and empty. The wine's name is Champagne de l'Estampe. Eastern casks. 5 of these casks are rotted and empty. The wine name burned on each is Red Dragon Crush. Lining the interior of the 6th one is a patch of yellow mold. See Dungeon Hazards in Chapter 5, Adventure Environments, of the Dungeon Master's Guide. A character who inspects the cask closely and succeeds on a DC 13 Wisdom Perception check sees yellow mold in the cracks between the planks of the cask. If this cask is smashed open, the yellow mold releases a cloud of spores. Southern casks. 2 of these casks are rotted and empty. The wine named burned on each is Purple Grape Mash No. 3. The middle one is home to a purplish-black pudding that bursts forth if the cask is broken open. Fortunes of Ravenloft. If your card reading reveals that a treasure is here, it is inside one of the empty casks along the north wall, hidden there by Cyrus Bellevue. K64, Guard Stair. The long, hollow sigh of the wind breathes a semblance of life into this otherwise featureless staircase. The stairway starts at area K68 and goes up past area K13 to area K46. K65, Kitchen. A horrible odor of decay fills this steaming hot room. A huge pot bubbles over a blazing fire pit in the center of this room, its green, muddy contents churning. The far wall is lined with pegs, hanging from which are numerous large cooking implements, some of which could easily double as implements of torture. If a character looks into the pot, 3 human zombies rise from the bubbling depths and attack. The zombies are slowly being boiled to death, and each one only has 13 hit points remaining. If Cyrus Bellevue, see area K62, is present when the zombies attack, he grabs a heavy club and tries to beat them back into the pot. Cyrus explains that he just isn't the cook he used to be, and his meals tend to get out of hand these days. K66, Butler's Quarters. This 20-foot square room is filled wall to wall with clutter. A long, sagging bed sits to one side under a huge faded tapestry that depicts Castle Ravenloft. Dusty lanterns sit in various places, and bright curtains are draped haphazardly about the room. Thousands of pieces of junk cover the floor. Broken swords, crumpled shields, and helmets lie in piles all about. Cyrus Bellevue, see area K62, used this room as his lair. There's nothing of value here. If Cyrus is with the party, the characters notice that he is caressing their equipment and chuckling to himself. Cyrus has been salvaging equipment from dead adventurers for years. He looks forward to adding to his collection after Strahd gets through with the characters. K67, Hall of Bones. Once a mess hall for the castle guards, this room is now desecrated ground. See Wilderness Hazards in Chapter 5, Adventure Environments of the Dungeon Master's Guide. Dark stains cover the floor of this area. Large oak tables, scarred and beaten, lay scattered like toys about the room, their wood crushed and splintered. Replacing them are furnishings made entirely of human bones. The walls and the 20-foot-high vaulted ceiling are a sickly yellow color, not because of faded or time-worn plaster, but because they are adorned with bones and skulls arranged in a morbidly decorative fashion, giving the room a cathedral-like quality. 4 enormous mounds of bones occupy the corners of this ossuary, and garlands of skulls extend from these mounds to a chandelier of bones that hangs from the ceiling above a long table constructed of bones in the center of the room. 10 chairs, made of bones and festooned with decorative skulls, surround the table, resting atop which is an ornate bowl-shaped vessel made of yet more bones. The doors to the north and south are sheathed in bone, but the steel-banded double doors in the center of the east wall are not. Above these eastern doors is mounted the skull of a dragon. Cyrus Bellevue, see Area K62, created this enormous work of art out of the bones of dead servants and slain adventurers. It has taken him many years to complete it. The bones and skulls are held together with gray mortar and white paste. The dark stains on the floor are old blood stains, caused here when Strahd hunted down and killed the remainder of his castle guards. The dragon skull mounted above the eastern doors belonged to Argynvostholt, see Chapter 7, a silver dragon that was killed in the valley by Strahd and his army before the founding of Castle Ravenloft. The skull weighs 250 pounds. Fortunes of Ravenloft. If your card reading reveals that a treasure is here, it is lying on the bone table. If your card reading indicates an encounter with Strahd in this area, he is sitting comfortably at one end of the table, holding the skull of a long-dead foe. K68, Guards Run. This 10-foot wide arched corridor is cold and moist. The cold seems to emanate from an open archway in the west wall. The archway leads to Area K69. A door at the north end of the hall opens into Area K67. To the south, the hallway ends at the foot of a staircase, Area K64, that spirals upward. K69, Guards Quarters. Sickly yellow lichen covers the ceiling of this cold, damp, 10-foot wide passage running east and west. Opening off both sides of this passage are 10-foot square alcoves that contain rotting cots, rags, and the skeletal remains of castle guards. A deathly silence fills this hall. The yellow lichen is harmless. When one or more characters reach the midpoint of the hall, 10 human skeletons leap from the alcoves and attack. K70, Kingsman Hall. This 30-foot square room is a shambles. Scattered furniture lies in heaps near the walls. Broken bones lie scattered amid crumpled and crushed plate armor. Shields and swords jut from the walls as if driven into them by some tremendous force. 2 doors stand opposite one another in the center of the north wall and the south wall. A dark archway leads out through the east wall. After Strahd was transformed into a vampire, several of the castle guards retreated to this room, but Strahd caught them and slaughtered them in a brutal show of violence. Removing one of the shields or swords from the wall requires a successful DC 10 strength check. None of the items found here are valuable. K71, Kingsman Quarters. This dark passage runs for 20 feet, connecting an archway to the west with an ascending stone staircase to the east. To the north and the south are 4 10-foot square alcoves cluttered with rotting cots and dirty rags. The ceilings here are covered with yellow lichen. The yellow lichen is harmless. Beyond the archway to the west is Area K70. The staircase, Area K20A, that goes up along the east wall leads to Area K20. Treasure. 3 of the alcoves contain nothing of value. A loose flagstone in the southeast alcove covers a hidden cubbyhole in the floor, in which is hidden a moldy sack containing 150 electrum pieces. The coins have the profiled visage of Strahd von Zarovich stamped onto them. A character who searches the alcove can find the loose flagstone with a successful DC 10 Wisdom Perception check. K72, Chamberlain's Office. This shadowy room is in perfect order. A great table stands here with its chair, inkwell, and quill set carefully in place. Lances, swords, and shields that bear the Barovian crest are hung neatly on dark oak-paned walls. If he has not been defeated elsewhere, Rahadin, see Appendix D, is here, waiting for the characters to arrive so he can kill them. A shadow demon also haunts this room. In the round after the characters engage Rahadin, the demon leaps out and attacks the nearest character from behind. The character doesn't notice the demon unless the character's passive wisdom perception score meets or exceeds the demon's dexterity stealth check. Both Rahadin and the Shadow Demon fight until slain. A secret door is set into the north end of the west wall. It can be pulled open to reveal a dusty, web-choked staircase of ancient worn stone, area K79, that descends into darkness. Dungeon and Catacombs. Refer to Map 12 of the castle for areas K73 through K88. K73, Dungeon Hall. The following boxed text assumes that the characters arrive by way of the staircase to the east, area K21. Adjust as needed if the characters enter this hall from another direction. The stairs descend into black, still water that fills an arched hallway before you. The water's surface is like dark, mirrored glass, disturbed only occasionally by the thwick of a drop falling from the ceiling. 20 feet ahead, arched doorways lead downward from each side of the hallway. In each arched doorway, an iron door stands closed and partially submerged. You hear a weak cry for help from beyond the south door. The water is 3 feet deep in the hallway and opaque. The steps on both sides of the hallway descend another 2 feet before ending at the iron doors to the north and south. The floor beneath the water isn't as solid as one might expect. There is a safe path around several weight-sensitive trapdoors. See the traps in area K73 diagram, but the water makes it impossible to see where the trapdoors are. For every 10 pounds of weight on a trapdoor, there is a 5% chance that the trapdoor will open. The 10-foot deep pit under each trapdoor contains a magical teleport trap that activates as soon as the trapdoor opens. Any medium or small creature on a trapdoor, when it opens, plunges into the pit and is teleported to a cell in either area K74 or K75, as the diagram indicates. When a character sets off a trap, other characters in the hall see an explosion of air and water fly up around the triggering character. Air that was trapped in the pit is released suddenly when the trapdoor opens. The triggering character suddenly falls from sight. An instant later, the trapdoor closes, leaving only a slowly dissipating swirl in the water. It doesn't open again until 24 hours have passed, at which point its teleport trap is recharged. Characters who fall victim to the teleport traps are transported to dungeon cells closed with iron bars and under 5 feet of brackish water, areas K74 and K75. K74, North Dungeon. The rusty iron door connecting this hall to area K73 is submerged in 5 feet of water and requires a successful DC 10 strength athletics check to open. A mold-covered ceiling hangs 3 feet above the still black water that fills this dungeon corridor. The water is 5 feet deep. 10-foot square cells, their entrances blocked by iron bars, line both sides of the hall. One of the cells is dimly lit. The corridor is 40 feet long. Branching off it are 8 cells, 4 along each wall. Light spills out of cell K74H. A hinged door made up of 1-inch thick rusted iron bars spaced 4 inches apart, with horizontal crossbars spaced 6 inches apart, closes off each cell. Each door is fitted with an iron lock. A character using thieves' tools can try to pick a lock, which requires 1 minute and a successful DC 20 dexterity check. The check is made with disadvantage if the character is trying to pick the lock from inside the cell. If the check fails, the character can try again. A character can force open a barred door by using an action and succeeding a DC 25 strength check. Strahd visits the dungeon occasionally to see whether any characters have become trapped here. He can enter a cell by assuming mist form. K74A, Forgotten Treasure. This cell is linked to a teleport trap in area K73. Characters who enter the cell can feel coins shifting beneath their feet. Treasure. Scattered across the floor of the cell are 3,000 electrum pieces. The coins have the profiled visage of Strahd von Zarovich stamped on them. A character can scoop up 100 coins every minute. K74B, Forgotten Treasure. The rusted door to the cell hangs open slightly. Characters who enter the cell can feel coins shifting beneath their feet. Treasure. Scattered across the floor of the cell are 300 platinum pieces. The coins have the profiled visage of Strahd von Zarovich stamped on them. A character can scoop up 100 coins every minute. K74C, Rotting Corpse. Clinging to the bars of this otherwise empty cell is the rotting corpse of a male half-elf dressed in leather armor. The cell is linked to a teleport trap in area K73. Treasure. A search of the corpse yields a sheathed longsword and 2 belt pouches, one containing 5 gemstones, 50 gold pieces each, and the other containing a potion of heroism. K74D, empty cell. This cell contains nothing of interest. K74E, end of the ride. This cell is linked to a teleport trap in area K73. Secret door. A secret door is 5 feet up from the floor of the north wall of this cell. The secret door can't be opened from this side without the use of a knock spell or similar magic. Behind the secret door is a chute of polished black marble that slants upward, area K82. K74F, empty cell. This cell contains nothing of interest. K74G, gray ooze. Clinging to the floor of this cell is a gray ooze that attacks anything that enters. While underwater, the ooze is effectively invisible. K74H, lost sword. A glowing blade can be seen beneath the water near the back of the cell. The cell is linked to a teleport trap in area K73. Treasure. The source of the underwater glow is a sentient lawful good +1 short sword, intelligence 11, wisdom 13, charisma 13. It has hearing and normal vision out to a range of 120 feet. It communicates by transmitting emotion to the creature carrying or wielding it. The sword's purpose is to fight evil. The sword has the following additional properties. The sword continually sheds bright light in a 15-foot radius and dim light for an additional 15 feet. Only by destroying the sword can this light be extinguished. Any lawful good creature can attune itself to the sword in 1 minute. While attuned to the weapon, the sword's wielder can use the sword to cast the Crusader's Mantle spell. Once used, this property of the sword can't be used again until the next dawn. K75, South Dungeon. The rusty iron door connecting this hall to area K73 is submerged in 5 feet of water and requires a successful DC 10 strength athletics check to open. A mold-covered ceiling hangs 3 feet above the still black water that fills this dungeon corridor. The water is 5 feet deep. 10-foot square cells, their entrances blocked by iron bars, line both sides of the hall. From one of the cells, you hear a gruff voice. "Who's there?" The corridor is 40 feet long. Branching off of it are 8 cells, 4 along each wall. The voice comes from one of the southernmost cells, area K75A. K75A. Prisoner. A strong young man clutches the bars of his cell while struggling to keep his teeth from chattering. His clothes are shredded, and he is soaked from head to toe. The man is Emil Tornescu, a werewolf with 72 hit points. He claims to be a resident of Valaki who was chased by direwolves to the castle. He begs the characters to rescue him, offering to help them in exchange. In truth, Strahd locked Emil here as punishment for causing a schism in his werewolf pact. See Chapter 15. Anxious to prove his worth to Strahd, Emil rewards the characters for freeing him by attacking them when a good opportunity arises. Emil doesn't turn against the characters if they claim to be allies of his wife, Zuleika. See Chapter 15, Area Z7. In that case, he tries to leave the castle and reunite with her, staying with the characters only until an opportunity to leave presents itself. K75B, Forgotten Treasure. Characters who enter the cell can feel coins shifting beneath their feet. Treasure. Scattered across the floor of this cell are 2,100 electrum pieces. The coins have the profiled visage of Strahd von Zarovich stamped on them. A character can scoop up 100 coins every minute. K75C. Empty cell. This cell contains nothing of interest. K75D. Dead dwarf. This cell is linked to a teleport trap in area K73. The skeletal remains of a dwarf fighter lie at the bottom of the cell, enclosed in rusted plate armor. The dwarf's non-magical but usable battle axe lies nearby. K75E, empty cell. This cell contains nothing of interest. K75F, dead wizard. Shackled to the back wall of this cell is an emaciated figure in a blue robe, its spindly arms spread wide and its head tilted forward. Long gray hair hangs down in front of the dead man's face. The skeletal figure is all that remains of a human wizard whom Strahd captured and slowly bled to death. Flesh still clings to the wizard's bones, and puncture marks from the vampire's fangs are visible on the wizard's neck. K75G, Hanging Bard. Pounded into the roof of this cell is a rusted iron pulley, strung through which is a rope that is tied to one of the crossbeams of the barred door. Dangling upside down from the pulley is a man, flabby and stout of build, in tight-fitting leather armor. His boots are bound with rope just below the pulley. His fleshy hands are tied behind his back, and his head is underwater. He isn't moving. Strahd had this human bard suspended from the ceiling as a test to see how long he could keep his head above water. The man weakened and drowned. On the floor of the cell, below the hanging corpse, is a smashed lyre. K75H, empty cell. This cell contains nothing of interest. K76, torture chamber. Dark, low shapes thrust up out of the still brackish water that fills this 50-foot square room, the ceiling of which is festooned with hanging chains that look like thick, black web strands. A balcony set into the north wall overlooks the room and has 2 large thrones atop it, with a red velvet curtain behind them. The ceiling is 17 feet above the surface of the water, which is 3 feet deep. The balcony to the north stands 7 feet above the water's surface, 10 feet above the floor. If the characters approach the dark low shapes in the water, read, the dark shapes in the water are racks, iron maidens, stocks, and other instruments of torture. The skeletons of their last victims lie within them, their jaws seemingly frozen open in silent screams. As soon as one or more characters move more than 10 feet into the room, 6 Strahd zombies rise slowly out of the water, their slimy gray arms clawing upward through the water as they attack. K77, observation balcony. 2 large wooden thrones rest on this balcony. Behind the thrones hangs a red velvet curtain 30 feet long. The ceiling here is 10 feet high. The room continues behind the curtain an additional 10 feet to a wall that has a door in its center. K78, brazier room. This room is 30 feet square, rising to a 20-foot tall flat ceiling. A stone brazier burns fiercely in the center of the room, but its tall white flame produces no heat. The rim of the brazier is carved with 7 cup-shaped indentations spaced evenly around the circumference. Within each indentation is a spherical stone, twice the diameter of a human eyeball and made of a colored crystal. No 2 stones are the same color. Overhead, a wood-framed hourglass as tall and as wide as a dwarf hangs 10 feet above the brazier, suspended from the ceiling by thick iron chains. All the sand is stuck in the upper portion of the hourglass, seemingly unable to run down into the bottom. Written in glowing script on the base of the hourglass is a verse in common. 2 9-foot-tall iron statues of knights on horseback, poised to charge with swords drawn, stand in deep alcoves facing each other. The brazier sits between them. The 2 statues are iron golems. Each horse and rider is considered one creature, and they are inseparable. The golems will not leave the room under any circumstances, and they attack only under specific conditions. See the development section that follows. The hourglass has AC 12, 20 hit points, immunity to poison and psychic damage, and vulnerability to thunder damage. If the hourglass is reduced to 0 hit points, its glass shatters, causing the sand within it to fall to the floor. The magic writing on the base of the hourglass reads as follows. Cast a stone into the fire. Violet leads to the mountain spire. Orange to the castle's peak. Red if lore is what you seek. Green to where the coffins hide. Indigo to the master's bride. Blue to ancient magic's womb. Yellow to the master's tomb. The brazier's flame is magical and sheds no warmth. A successful casting of Dispel Magic, DC 16, extinguishes the flame for 1 hour. The fire is permanently extinguished if the brazier is destroyed. The brazier has AC 17, 25 hit points, immunity to poison and psychic damage, and resistance to all other damage. The stones set into the brazier's rim are colored red, orange, yellow, green, blue, indigo, and violet, respectively. Tossing one into the brazier causes its flame to change from white to the color of the stone, and the sand begins falling through the hourglass. Any creature that touches the colored flame is teleported to a location within Strahd's domain as determined by the color. Red, Study, Area K37. Orange, North Tower Peak, Area K60. Yellow, Strahd's Tomb, Area K86. Green, Coffin Maker Shop, Chapter 5, Area N6F. Blue, Amber Temple, Chapter 13, Area X42. Indigo, Abbey of St. Markovia, Chapter 8, Area S17. Violet, Solinka Pass, Chapter 9, Area T4. After 5 rounds, the sand runs out, and the color of the flame returns to white. When the flame does so, the sand instantly reappears to the top part of the hourglass, provided the hourglass is intact, and the stone that was cast in the fire reappears in the brazier's rim. Development. If the brazier, the hourglass, or either golem is attacked, the doors of the room magically slam shut and lock, unless they are being held or wedged open, and the golems animate and attack. On the first round, the golems fill the room with their poisonous breath, which issues from the horse's mouth. Each creature in the room must make 2 saving throws, one for each breath weapon. On subsequent rounds, each golem makes 1 attack with its sword and 1 slam attack with its hoof. When there are no creatures left to fight in the room, the golems return to their alcoves and the doors unlock. Forcing open a locked door requires a successful DC 25 Strength Athletics check. Each door has AC 15, 25 hit points, and immunity to poison and psychic damage. K79, Western Stair. This staircase of ancient stone is worn and smooth. Thick dust covers its steps, and cobwebs choke the passage. The stairs rise at a 45-degree angle for a distance of 40 feet horizontally, leading to a 10-foot square landing, see below. A second set of stairs continues upward to the east at a similar angle for a distance of 30 feet horizontally, ending at a secret door that opens into area K72. Landing. Inscribed on the landing, hidden under years of dust, is a glyph of warding. If the characters brush away the dust, someone can spot the glyph with a successful DC 15 intelligence investigation check. The glyph triggers the first time a living creature passes over it. Triggering it activates a major image spell, conjuring an illusion of Strahd von Zarovich that appears either halfway up the stairs leading to area K72 or halfway down the stairs leading to area K78, so that the vampire appears in front of the triggering character. When Strahd appears, read, a sickly mist fills the stairway ahead, then coalesces into the form of the vampire Strahd, his eyes burning red with anger.
You have worn out your welcome, he says. Whatever gods you believe in cannot save you now.
Have the characters roll initiative. Any attack or spell that hits Strahd passes through, revealing that he is an illusion. On initiative count 0, the illusory vampire chuckles and melts away like a wax doll in a bonfire, leaving no trace behind, and the glyph disappears. K80, Center Stair. If the characters enter this area through the door at the bottom of the stairs, read, the door creaks open to reveal a stone staircase between rough masonry walls. There is little dust on the steps, but light fog tumbles down the steps from above. If the characters enter this area at the top of the staircase, read, the rough-hewn corridor ends at a stone staircase that descends to the south. Flanked by walls of rough masonry and relatively free of dust, these stairs descend before ending at a lonely door. The stairs slope at a 45-degree angle for a distance of 20 feet horizontally, connecting areas K78 and K81. K81, Tunnel. This tunnel is cut into the Pillarstone of Ravenloft itself. Its surface is slick and its ceiling is barely 6 feet high. A lingering fog limits visibility to a few feet. Characters who have knowledge of stone cutting can tell that this passage is a relatively new construction compared to the other areas of Ravenloft. The tunnel is 120 feet long, with a stone door at its eastern end. Near the midpoint of the tunnel is a trapdoor hidden under a layer of fog. Characters can't spot the trapdoor passively, but an active search accompanied by a successful DC 20 Wisdom Perception check locates it. Unless the trapdoor is fastened shut with an iron spike or by some other means, it opens when 100 pounds of weight or more is placed on it. When the trapdoor opens, everyone who is standing on it slides into the marble chute below, area K82. The trapdoor then resets. K82, Marble Slide. If one or more characters fall through the trapdoor in area K81, read, you fall into a chute of polished black marble and slide into darkness. The chute plunges from the trapdoor in area K81 through a one-way secret door into a flooded cell, area K74E. Characters who slide all the way to the bottom are deposited in the cell, but take no damage. The slide contains no handholds and is too slippery to ascend without the aid of magic. K83, Spiral Stair. Behind the door lies a dark spiral staircase. The staircase starts at area K78, climbs to a landing at area K83A, and continues upward to area K37. K83A, Spiral Stair Landing. An extension of area K83, this landing is shown on map 11. This 40-foot long corridor connects 2 spiral stairways, one leading up and the other descending into the depths of Castle Ravenloft. Hanging from an iron rod bolted to the eastern wall is a dusty 10-foot square tapestry depicting knights on horseback charging across a battlefield under a blood-red sky. The lead knight rides a black horse and wears a fur-lined black coat, dark gray armor, and a visored helm shaped like a wolf's head. His sword glows with the light of the sun. The stairs at the north end of the west wall descends to a door leading to area K78. The stairs at the south end of the west wall lead up, ending at a door that opens into area K37. Treasury. The tapestry depicts Strahd's father, King Barov, leading his fearsome knights into glorious battle. The tapestry weighs 10 pounds and is worth 750 gold pieces intact. If it becomes damaged while in the party's possession, it is worthless unless mended. K84. Catacombs. Deep beneath the keep of Ravenloft lie ancient catacombs, with arched ceilings supporting wide, hollow columns that double as crypts. Cobwebs hang limp in the musty air. A thick fog clings to the floor, which is covered in putrid waste. The black ceiling is moving. The catacombs fill an area roughly 110 feet east to west by 180 feet north to south, and the floor is covered in several inches of bat guano. The catacombs are made up of 10-foot wide arch walkways running between 10-foot square crypts, which serve as pillars that support the 20-foot high ceiling. The area has 5 means of entry and exit. The door adjacent to Crypt 1, connecting to area K81, a barred archway to the north, connecting with area K85, a barred archway to the south, connecting with area K86, but warded by teleport traps, a barred archway to the east, connecting with area K87, the high tower stair, area K18, or the shaft, area K18A, to the west. Each crypt is sealed with a chiseled stone door, actually a tight-fitting stone slab measuring 3 feet wide, 5 feet tall, and 3 inches thick. Removing or resetting a stone slab requires an action and a successful DC 15 strength check. Each crypt houses the remains of the person or persons whose epitaph is inscribed in the front of the slab. The crypts are described in the following sections, their epitaphs noted under the crypt's number in italics. Unless noted otherwise, each crypt contains a 3-foot by 6-foot rectangular bier of marble, 3 feet high, with a skeleton draped in rags lying atop it. The catacombs are home to tens of thousands of bats. The bats hang here during daytime hours and fly out in the evening through the high tower central shaft, area K18A, to hunt at night. They will not attack intruders unless they are provoked or are specifically commanded to do so by Strahd. If one or more bats within a 10-foot square on the map are attacked or caught in the area of a harmful spell, 2d4 swarms of bats form in that area and attack. No more swarms can be formed in that square until the next dawn, when more bats arrive to replenish those that were killed. Teleport traps. Invisible teleport traps are located between crypts 37 and 38, between crypt 37 and the wall south of it, and between crypt 38 and the wall south of it. The traps can't be perceived except with a detect magic spell, which reveals an aura of conjuration magic in the trapped areas. Although the traps can't be disarmed, a successful casting of Dispel Magic, DC 16, on a trap suppresses its magic for 1 minute, allowing characters to move safely through its area. A trap is also suppressed while wholly or partly in the area of an anti-magic field. These teleport traps form a protective ring around the entrance to Strahd's tomb, area K86. Any creature that enters one of these 10-foot square spaces is instantly teleported away, switching places with one of the wights in Crypt 14. The wight materializes in the creature's previous location and attacks any living creature it sees. Crypt 1. Herein lies the one who walks the path of pain and torment. The stone door connects not with a crypt, but with a hewn tunnel of stone, area K81. Crypt 2. Artista Dislop, court ceiling painter. The domed ceiling of this crypt is painted with an image of imps holding bouquets of colorful flowers. A skeleton draped in rags lies atop a marble slab in the center of the crypt. A wooden box is tucked under one bony hand. The box is unlocked. It contains 7 wood-handled paintbrushes and 7 small gourds of dried-up paint. Crypt 3. Lady Isolde Yunk, Isolde the Incredible, purveyor of antiques and imports. A skeleton draped in rags lies atop a marble slab in the center of the crypt. Piled all around it, covering the floor, are heaps of old baskets, braziers, bundled tapestries, candlesticks, chairs, chests, cooking utensils, crescents, curtain rods, decanters, dishes, jugs, lamps, scroll cases, tankards, and tinderboxes. None of the junk looks valuable. An old chandelier hangs from the domed ceiling. Characters could spend hours searching the crypt. Though the antiques here might fetch a fair amount of coin, they are hardly worth the trouble to transport. Crypt 4. Prince Ariel de Plumete, Ariel the Heavy. If the characters open the door to this crypt, read, the apparition of a large, rotund man forms within the dark crypt, its eyes wide with insanity. Large, artificial wings unfold from its back. Prince Ariel was a terrible man who longed to fly. He attached artificial wings to a harness and empowered the device with magic, but the apparatus still couldn't bear his weight, and he plunged from the Pillarstone of Ravenloft to his death. His evil ghost attacks the characters on sight. If Ariel succeeds in possessing a character, his host climbs the high tower, area K18, until it reaches the peak, area K59, then hurls itself down the tower's central shaft, area K18, screaming, "I can fly!" the whole way down. Crypt 5. Artank Swilovich, friend and member of the Barovian Wine Distillers Guild. You are greeted by the faint smell of wine. A skeleton draped in rags lies atop a marble slab in the center of the crypt. Heaped around it, covering the entire floor, are thousands of empty wine bottles. Each bottle's label shows that it is from the Wizard of Wine's winery, and the label names the wine inside: Champagne de l'Estampe, Red Dragon Crush, or Purple Grape Mash No. 3. Fortunes of Ravenloft. If your card reading reveals that a treasure is here, it is buried under the wine bottles. A character who searches under the bottles finds the treasure automatically. Crypt 6. Saint Markovia, dead for all time. The 10-foot square section of floor in front of this crypt is a pressure plate that releases 4 poison darts hidden in tiny holes in the north wall. See sample traps in Chapter 5, Adventure Environments, of the Dungeon Master's Guide for the rules on how this trap functions. The trap resets when the weight is lifted and can be triggered a total of 4 times before its supply of darts is depleted. If the door to the crypt is open, read, this crypt smells of roses. The remains atop its marble slab have disintegrated, except for one thigh bone. If the characters disturb Saint Markovia's remains, add, a ghostly form appears above the dust, so faint that you can barely discern more than part of a face. From this apparition comes the faintest of whispers. The vampire must be destroyed. Use me as your weapon. With that, it fades away. Treasure. A detect magic spell reveals that the thigh bone radiates an aura of evocation magic. See Appendix C for more information on Saint Markovia's thigh bone. Crypt 7. The stone door of this crypt lies on the floor, its inscription obscured by fog. The crypt gapes open. A skull, some bones, and a few bits of rusted iron lie atop a marble slab with a leering stone gargoyle squatting at each end. The epitaph on the door reads, Endurovich, Endurovich the Terrible. What the blood of 100 wars did not do, the spurn of a woman accomplished. Endurovich was a ruthless soldier and a self-aggrandizing noble who loved a woman named Marya, but she loved another man. As Marya and her lover were dining, Endurovich put poison into the man's wine glass. The glasses were mixed up, and Marya drank the poison instead. The lover was hanged for murdering Marya and buried at the Eveless River crossroads, Chapter 2, Area F. Endurovich never got over his guilt, and, out of madness, killed many in his lifetime. Endurovich's spirit is trapped inside one of the gargoyles. If anyone disturbs the bones on the slab, one of the gargoyles awakens and attacks. If the gargoyle is reduced to 0 hit points, Endurovich's spirit moves to the second gargoyle, which then awakes and attacks. Both gargoyles have maximum hit points, 77. Once the second gargoyle is destroyed, Endurovich's spirit is laid to rest. Fortunes of Ravenloft. If your card reading reveals that a treasure is here, it is contained in a secret compartment under Endurovich's remains. Once his bones and dust are swept away, the compartment can be found and opened without an ability check. Crypt 8. Duchess Dorfnia de Lisnia. A skeleton draped in rags lies atop a marble slab in the center of the crypt. Hanging on the back wall is a handsome quilt that depicts a royal feast. The quilt is magically preserved, but not valuable. Crypt 9. Piddlewick, full of Dorfnia. A small skeleton wearing the remains of a fool's costume lies atop a stumpy marble slab in the center of the crypt. If Piddlewick II, see Area K59, is with the party, it refuses to enter the crypt. The slab in this crypt is 4 feet long, instead of the usual 6 feet long. The bones atop the slab belong to the fool servant of Duchess Dorfnia de Lisnia. See Crypt 8. Treasure. If the characters explore the crypt after summoning the ghost of Piddlewick in Area K36, they find a small, flat wooden box on the marble slab next to Piddlewick's bones. The box contains a full deck of illusions. Crypt 10. Sir Leonid Crushkin. Sir Lee the Crusher. Bigger than life, he loved his jewelry. An oversized skeleton draped in jewelry and rags lies atop an elongated marble slab in the center of the crypt. Leaning against the slab is a blood-stained maul strung with cobwebs. Sir Lee stood well over 7 feet tall. His maul might give the characters pause, but it is harmless and non-magical. Treasure. 3 jeweled necklaces, worth 750 gold pieces each, are lying across Sir Lee's skeleton. Crypt 11. Tasha Petrovna. Healer of kings, light onto the west, servant, companion. A skeleton wearing tattered priestly vestments lie atop a marble slab in the center of the crypt. The domed ceiling overhead is painted with a glorious sun mural. Characters that would take damage from exposure to sunlight, such as vampires, have disadvantage on all ability checks, attack rolls, and saving throws while inside this crypt. Treasure. Draped around the neck of the skeleton is a sun-shaped holy symbol, worth 25 gold pieces. A good-aligned character who picks up the holy symbol hears a ghostly female voice. It whispers the following message.
There is a grave to the west, with roses that never die, in a place built by healers in the village called Kresh. When all turns to darkness, touch this holy symbol to the grave to summon the light and find a treasure long lost.
The message refers to a gravestone in the Abbey of St. Markovia, Chapter 8, Area S7. Crypt 12. King Troisky, the Three-Faced King. There are no bones atop the marble slab in this crypt, only a steel helm with a visor shaped like an angry face. The helm has 3 evenly spaced visors crafted to look like human faces, one sad, one happy, and one angry. Only the angry visage is visible from the crypt's doorway. King Troisky wore this 3-faced helm in battle, earning him the moniker of Three-Faced King. The helm is non-magical and weighs 10 pounds. The slab upon which the helm rests is weight sensitive. If the helm is removed from the slab without 10 pounds of weight immediately being added, poisonous gas pours out of the slab's hollow interior and fills the crypt. A character who searches the slab for traps and succeeds on a DC 12 Wisdom Perception check spots tiny holes bored into the slab's marble base. It's from these holes that the gas spews forth. A creature in the crypt, when the gas is released, must make a DC 14 Constitution saving throw, taking 22 4d10 poison damage on a failed save or half as much damage on a successful one. Crypt 13. King Katsky. Katsky the Bright. Ruler, inventor, and self-proclaimed time traveler. A skeleton draped in rags lies atop a marble slab in the center of the crypt. Lying amid the bones is a stoppered drinking horn, a fat pouch, and a weird-looking scepter made of metal and wood. Above the bones, hanging from the domed ceiling by wires, is a wooden flying contraption that looks like a set of folding dragon wings, fitted with leather straps, metal buckles, and taut leather wing flaps. The stoppered drinking horn is a water-resistant powder horn, loaded with gunpowder, and the weird-looking scepter is a musket. The fat pouch contains 20 silver marbles, silver bullets for the musket. For more information on firearms and explosives, see Chapter 9, Dungeon Master's Workshop of the Dungeon Master's Guide. Glider. Any small or medium humanoid can wear the dragon-winged glider. It takes 1 minute to don or doff the glider. It can't support more than 80 pounds, although the amount of weight it can carry is not evident. A character who inspects the glider in an attempt to discern its maximum weight allowance can do so accurately with a successful DC 15 intelligence check. If its wearer is light enough, accounting for gear, the apparatus can be used to glide, but only in wide open spaces where there is room to maneuver. The wearer can become airborne by stepping or jumping off a high place, or by performing a high jump to take off from ground level. While aloft, the wearer gains a fly speed equal to its walking speed, with the following limitations. Except in a significant updraft, the wearer can't use the glider to attain altitude, and the glider descends 1 foot for every 10 feet of horizontal distance covered. At the end of the flight, the wearer lands on its feet and the glider is intact. If the wearer tries to accelerate the rate of descent, the glider breaks, and the wearer falls. The glider has AC 12, 1 hit point, and a 15-foot wingspan. Any damage causes it to break and become inoperable. A mending cantrip can repair the damage, provided all the broken pieces are present. Crypt 14. Stabal Indabak. A truer friend no ruler ever had. Here lies his family and honor. If the characters open the door in this crypt, read, a 10-foot square shaft plunges into darkness. The sound of slowly dripping water echoes up the shaft. Characters who have dark vision or a sufficient light source can see the shaft descends 40 feet to some kind of vault deep in the Pillarstone of Ravenloft. Stones protrude from the shaft at regular intervals, offering handholds and footholds. The stones are slippery, however, so a character who tries to scale the wall without the aid of magic or the use of a climber's kit must succeed a DC 10 strength athletics check. Vault. When the characters reach the bottom of the shaft, read, at the bottom of the shaft is a dank vault with a 10-foot high ceiling. The room is awkwardly shaped and smells of rotting meat. 15 stone coffins are scattered throughout the vault, all oriented with their heads pointing north. The floor is covered with human bones and rusty swords. If a character teleports into a coffin from one of the teleport traps that protects Strahd's tomb, area K86, read the following to that character's player. A flash of light explodes around you, and then you are plunged into absolute darkness, suddenly lying in a confined space choked with dust. The vault contains 15 wights, 1 per coffin, minus any that have been teleported away. See teleport traps at the start of this section. Lifting a coffin's lid requires an action and a successful DC 15 strength check. Each wight remains inactive until it is teleported away or until its coffin is opened, whereupon it attacks. The bones and rusty swords cover the floor to a depth of 6 inches and are the remains of servants who swore to avenge Stabal Indabak's family. Whenever a wight is killed in this vault, some of the bones knit together, forming 2d6 animated human skeletons. These skeletons attack intruders on sight, but have no ranged attacks. There are enough bones and swords in the room for 100 skeletons to form in this manner. Crypt 15. Kazan. His word was power. A skeleton draped in rags lies atop a marble slab in the center of the crypt. The dull skull has black opals set in its eye sockets and shards of amber where its teeth should be. Kazan was a powerful archmage who unlocked the secrets of lichdom, then later tried to become a demi-lich and failed. Neither his skull nor his bones pose any threat, but the gems embedded in the skull are valuable. Treasure. The skull's black opal eye gems are worth 1,000 gold pieces apiece. The skull also has 8 amber teeth, worth 100 gold pieces each. Any creature that stands inside the crypt and boldly speaks the name Kazan causes the Pillarstone of Ravenloft to tremble as a staff of power materializes above the marble slab and hovers in place. The first creature to grab hold of the staff must make a DC 17 Constitution saving throw, taking 44 8d10 lightning damage on a failed save, or half as much damage on a successful one. Afterward, the Staff of Power can be held and used normally. If no one grabs the staff within 1 round of its appearance, it vanishes, never to return. Crypt 16. Elsa Fallena von Twitterberg. Beloved actor. She had many followers. A skeleton draped in rags lies atop a marble slab in the center of the crypt. 9 shallow alcoves are carved into the surrounding walls. The back wall of each alcove is painted with a full body image of a handsome man. Some of the men wear fine clothes, others wear armor. At the feet of each painting rests a skull atop a pile of bones. The bones in the niches belong to Elsa's 9 consorts. There is nothing of value here. Crypt 17. Sir Cedric Spinwidovich, Admiral Spinwidovich. Confused though he was, he built the greatest naval force ever assembled in a landlocked country. An 11-foot-long funeral barge dominates this crypt, wedged diagonally into the available space. Lying in the boat is a skeleton draped in rags with hundreds of gold coins piled around it. The coins are made of clay painted gold and are worthless. The funeral barge, which was assembled inside the crypt, is too big to fit through the door. Crypt 18. The stone door of this crypt has been carefully laid to the side. Through the swirling mists of perpetual fog, freshly engraved letters spell out the words Irina Kolyana, wife. The crypt is empty and has been swept clean. This is where Strahd intends to keep Irina once he turns her into a vampire spawn. Crypt 19. Artemis, builder of the keep. Thou standest amidst the monument to his life. A skeleton draped in rags lies atop a marble slab in the center of the crypt. The crypt contains nothing of interest. Crypt 20. Sasha Ivliskova, wife. Webs as thick and pale as linen cover a shapely female form lying atop a marble slab in the center of this dusty, web-filled crypt. You hear a voice issue from the darkness. "My love, have you come to set me free?" The woman rises, the shroud of webs clinging to her in a ghastly fashion. This vampire spawn is an old wife of Strahd's. Once she realizes that the characters aren't her husband, Sasha tears away her web shroud like an unloved wedding dress and attacks. Crypt 21. Petrina Velikovna, bride. The creature inside this crypt attacks as soon as the door is opened. From the darkness comes a horrifying visage, a spectral elf maiden twisted by the horror of her undead existence. She wails, and the very sound claws at your soul. The spectral elf is a banshee that attacks the characters on sight, using her wail immediately. Once awakened, the banshee is free to roam Castle Ravenloft, but she can't travel more than 5 miles from this crypt. In life, Petrina Velikovna was a dusk elf who, having learned a great deal about the black arts, was nearly a match for Strahd's power. She felt a great bond with him and asked to solemnize that bond in a dark marriage. Drawn to her knowledge and power, Strahd consented, but before he could drain all life from Petrina, her own people stoned her to death in an act of mercy to thwart Strahd's plan. Strahd demanded and got Petrina's body. She then became the banshee trapped here. Reducing the banshee to 0 hit points causes it to discorporate. Petrina's spirit can't rest, however, until she is formally wed to Strahd. The banshee reforms in her crypt 24 hours later. Casting a hollow spell on the crypt prevents the banshee from returning for as long as the spell lasts. Treasure. Read the following text when the characters investigate Petrina's crypt. In the center of the crypt, a skeleton draped in rags lies atop a marble slab, surrounded by thousands of coins. Petrina's crypt contains 250 platinum pieces, 1,100 gold pieces, 2,300 electrum pieces, 5,200 silver pieces, and 8,000 copper pieces. The coins are a mix of origin. The platinum and electrum coins have Strahd's profiled visage stamped on them. Buried under the coins is Petrina's spellbook, which has carved wooden covers. It contains all the spells listed for the Archmage in the Monster Manual. Development. If she is restored to life by her brother, see Casimir's Dark Gift in the Special Events section in Chapter 13, Petrina, neuter evil, female dusk elf, returns as an Archmage with no spells prepared. If the characters have her spellbook, she kindly asks them to give it back to her so that she can prepare her long-forgotten spells and destroy Strahd. A lie. If the characters oblige, she repays their kindness by learning as much about them as possible before pursuing her own goals. Crypt 22. Sir Eric Vonderbucks. A gilded man lies atop a marble slab in the center of this otherwise barren crypt. Sir Eric Vonderbucks was a wealthy noble whose dying wish was to have his corpse dipped in molten gold. Treasure. The thin layer of gold, if peeled from Sir Eric's desiccated corpse, is worth 500 gold pieces. Crypt 23. The first time the characters happen upon this crypt, they see one of their names, determined randomly, etched into the door. Opening the crypt releases a horrid stench of decay and reveals a corpse lying on the marble slab within. The corpse looks like the character named on the door. Touching the corpse causes it to melt away, whereupon the inscription fades. On later visits to this crypt, the door is unmarked and the crypt is empty. Crypt 24. Ivan Ivliskovich, champion of winter dog racing. The race may go to the swift, but vengeance is for the loser's relatives. A skeleton draped in bits of fur lies atop a marble slab in the center of the crypt. The walls and ceiling are covered with plaster painted to make the crypt seem as if it stands in an evergreen forest, surrounded by snow. The plaster has peeled and fallen away in many places, shattering the illusion. This crypt contains nothing of interest. Crypt 25. Stefan Grigorovich, first counselor to King Bera von Zarevich. A skeleton draped in rags lies atop a marble slab in the center of the crypt. Most of the bones appear dusty and neglected, but the skull is well polished. A detect magic spell cast here reveals that Stefan's skull radiates a faint aura of necromancy magic. As long as the skull remains in the crypt, it will answer up to 5 questions put to it, as though a Speak with Dead spell has been cast on it. This property recharges each day at dawn. In life, Stefan was neither observant nor well informed. If the skull is questioned about Strahd or Castle Ravenloft, All the information it provides is untrue. Crypt 26. Intri Sikvalu. He spurned wealth for the knowledge he could take to heaven. A skeleton draped in rags lies atop a marble slab in the center of the crypt. Most of the bones appear dusty and neglected, but the skull is well polished. A detect magic spell cast here reveals Intri's skull radiates a faint aura of necromancy magic. As long as the skull remains in the crypt, it will answer up to 5 questions put to it, as though a Speak with Dead spell had been cast on it. This property recharges each day at dawn. Unlike Stefan Grigorovich in Crypt 25, Intri was well educated and astute. If the skull is questioned about Strahd or the castle, the information it provides is true. Crypt 27. This crypt is missing its door. 3 giant wolf spiders infest this otherwise empty crypt. The spiders make no noise and leap out to attack anyone who moves in front of the crypt's gaping doorway. Crypt 28. Biskal Offenheis. Chef Deluxe. A skeleton draped in white linen lies atop a marble slab in the center of the crypt, clutching a bell to its sunken chest. Fitted over its skull is a tall chef's hat. If the bell is rung inside the crypt, magic fire sweeps through the crypt to scorch Chef Offenheis' bones. A creature in the crypt must make a DC 17 dexterity saving throw, taking 22 4d10 fire damage on a failed save, or half as much damage on a successful one. Any creature that fails its save catches fire, taking 5 1d10 fire damage at the end of each of its turns until it or another creature uses an action to douse the flames. Treasure. Tucked under the chef's hat is an electrum spork with a bejeweled handle, worth 250 gold pieces. Crypt 29. Baron Isglaze Droof. Opening the door causes the air around you to turn as cold as the coldest hell you can imagine. Every surface inside the crypt is covered with thick, brownish mold. A patch of brown mold, see Dungeon Hazards in Chapter 5, Adventure Environments of the Dungeon Master's Guide, fills the crypt. Characters within 5 feet of the crypt's open doorway are affected. If the brown mold is killed off, characters can dig through the moldy crust to find the bones of Baron Droof lying atop a marble slab. Treasure. Hidden under the brown mold next to the Baron's bones is a luck blade with 1 wish remaining. If a character uses the wish to try to escape Barovia, the spell fails. If a creature uses the sword to wish for Strahd's destruction, the wish doesn't destroy Strahd, but rather teleports him to within 5 feet of the sword. Crypt 30. Prefect Surreal Rumelich. Beloved of King Barov and Queen Ravenovia. High Priest of the Most Holy Order. A marble slab in the center of the crypt displays a skeleton draped in red vestments, a golden holy symbol clutched in 1 bony hand. The dome ceiling 15 feet above is painted to look like a canopy of trees with bright autumn leaves. A narrow stone ledge encircles the crypt 10 feet above the floor. Perched on it are dozens of stone ravens, their eyes fixed on the marble slab. The carved ravens are ominous, yet harmless. Treasure. The prefix gold holy symbol is festooned with tiny gemstones and is worth 750 gold pieces. If touched by an evil creature, the holy symbol is consumed in a blast of intense light that deals 11 2d10 radiant damage to all creatures within 5 feet of it. Characters familiar with Barovian religion recognize the symbol as that of the Morning Lord. Crypt 31. We knew him only by his wealth. This crypt is empty. Its walls are painted to depict mountains of gold coins. The floor of this crypt is actually the cover of a 30-foot deep spike pit. The cover opens if 100 pounds of weight or more are placed on it. It splits down the middle, east to west, and its doors are spring-loaded. After a victim or victims fall into the pit, the door snaps shut. See sample traps in Chapter 5, Adventure Environments of the Dungeon Master's Guide, for the rules on lock-picking and spiked pits. The spikes at the bottom of the pit are made of iron but aren't poisoned. Treasure. A human skeleton, the remains of a dead adventurer, wrapped in bits of studded leather armor lies amid the spikes at the bottom of the pit. A shattered lantern and a rusty crowbar lie nearby. Tied to the corpse's leather belt is a 50-foot coil of hempen rope, a dagger in a worn scabbard, a pouch containing 25 platinum pieces, and a stoppered wooden tube containing a spell scroll of magic circle. Fortunes of Ravenloft. If your card reading reveals that a treasure is here, it is lying next to the skeleton at the bottom of the pit. Crypt 32. The door to this crypt has no name or epitaph on it. This crypt is empty except for 2 alcoves in the back wall. Above the alcoves are carved the following words: Pass not these portals, ye foolish mortals. A detect magic spell reveals that alcoves radiate strong auras of conjuration magic. Creatures that enter the eastern alcove of this crypt are teleported to the eastern alcove of Strahd's tomb, area K86. Stepping into the western alcove of this crypt has no effect, but any creature that teleports from the western alcove of area K86 appears here. Crypt 33, Sir Klutz Tripolatsky. He fell on his own sword. In the center of this crypt, atop a marble slab, human bones lie amid the empty shell of a suit of rusty plate armor. Plunged through the armor's breastplate is a longsword. Neither Sir Klutz's armor nor his longsword are magical or valuable. If the sword is pulled from his armor, Sir Klutz appears as a phantom warrior, see Appendix D, thanks whoever pulled his weapon free and agrees to fight alongside that character for the next 7 days. Sir Klutz perished years before Strahd became a vampire, so the Phantom Warrior knows nothing of Strahd's downfall or the curse afflicting Barovia. Crypt 34, King Dustron the Hellborn. Resting in the center of this crypt is a 7-foot-long gilded sarcophagus, its lid painted with the likeness of a screaming king wearing a crown of thorns. Looming behind the sarcophagus is a stuffed owlbear frozen in a roar with claws outstretched. King Dustron was an ancient ruler of this land, long before the arrival of Strahd. He claimed descent from a duke of the Nine Hells, and his deeds did justice to this ancestry. His sarcophagus is made of beaten lead and encased in gold. See treasure below. Its lid can be pried open with a crowbar or similar tool, revealing nothing but dust within. The stuffed owlbear is a late addition to the crypt's decor, a gift given to Strahd that wound up here. It looks almost live, but is harmless. An invisible imp is perched atop the owlbear. If someone tries to open the sarcophagus, the imp says in common, "I wouldn't do that if I were you." The imp is magically bound to King Dustron's remains, and must watch over them for several more centuries before its contract is fulfilled. It isn't obligated to protect the contents of the crypt, so it will not attack, and it delights in telling lies and engaging in mischief. For instance, it warns the characters that the sarcophagus is trapped, and that opening the lid will free a pit fiend bound within. Treasure. Characters who take the time to pry the gold from the sarcophagus can amass 500 gold pieces worth of precious metal, weighing 10 pounds. Crypt 35, Sir Yarnwald the Trickster. The joke was on him. A charnel stench fills this empty crypt. The floor here is an illusion that hides a 20-foot deep pit. The sides of the pit are polished smooth. A creature without a climbing speed can't move along them without the aid of magic or a climber's kit. At the bottom of the pit are 6 starving ghouls. A permanent silence spell suppresses sound in the pit. The silence can be dispelled, as can the illusory floor. DC 14 for both. Treasure. Sir Yarnwald was entombed here, so far as he was pushed into the crypt and devoured by the ghouls. What remains of him lies scattered on the pit floor. A few scrapes of clothing, a handful of teeth, and a signet ring that bears a stylized J, worth 25 gold pieces. Crypt 36. Claw marks obliterate the name on this crypt's door. A skeleton draped in rags lies atop a marble slab in the center of the crypt. This crypt contains nothing of interest. Crypt 37. Gralmore Nimblenobs, Wizard Ordinaire. Lying on a marble slab in the center of this crypt is the corpse of a man with a long white beard. His skin clings tightly to his skull and bones, and he wears dusty red robes. Clutched to his chest is a wooden staff that has a brass knob on one end and a marble knob on the other. The staff is a non-magical quarterstaff. Inspection of the marble slab reveals a shallow, concave recess at one end. If the marble-knobbed end of Gralmore's staff is placed in the recess, the slab levitates 5 feet upward, revealing a compartment underneath. See treasure below. The slab slowly sinks back into place after 1 minute. If the brass-knobbed end of the staff is placed in the recess, the holder of the staff takes 22 4d10 lightning damage. Treasure. The compartment under the slab holds a small black leather case containing 3 spell scrolls: Cone of Cold, Fireball, and Lightning Bolt. Fortunes of Ravenloft. If your card reading reveals that a treasure is here, it is in the compartment with the other treasure. Crypt 38. General Kroval Mad Dog Grislek, Master of the Hunt, a leader of hounds and men. When the characters open the door to this crypt, read, "The stench of brimstone and burnt fur spills from this crypt. In its darkness are 3 pairs of glowing red eyes." 3 hellhounds lunge forth and attack, fighting to the death. In the round after they attack, General Grislek's wraith emerges from the crypt, uttering commands to the hounds in Infernal. Once these evil creatures are slain, the characters can inspect the crypt more closely. Bits of incinerated bone lie strewn atop a marble slab in the center of the crypt. Lying amid the bones are fragments of a shattered spear with a silvered head. The walls and domed ceiling of the crypt are covered with scorched murals that depict legions of infantry and cavalry clashing on battlefields. A mending cantrip can repair the spear, which is broken into 3 pieces of roughly equal length. If repaired, it can be wielded as a silvered, non-magical spear. Fortunes of Ravenloft. If your card reading reveals that a treasure is here, it is in a secret compartment under Gristlick's remains. Once his charred bones are cleared away, the compartment can be found and opened without an ability check. Crypt 39. Bucephalus the Wonder Horse. May the flowers grow ever brighter where he trods. The door to this crypt is larger than all the others, 6 feet wide by 8 feet tall. Removing or resetting the slab requires a successful DC 20 strength check. When the door is opened, read, dry, hot air and smoke billow from the crypt as a black horse with a flaming mane and fiery hooves emerges. Smoke billows from its nostrils as it rears up to attack. The nightmare, Bucephalus, is Strahd's steed. It has 104 hit points. If the characters slay it, Strahd hunts them down mercilessly. When the steed wants to leave the castle, it flies up the central shaft of the high tower, area K18A, exiting through the gash in the tower roof, area K59. Crypt 40. Tetzel Eris, last of the line. A skeleton draped in rags lies atop a marble slab in the center of the crypt. Mounted on the north, east, and south walls are 3 unlit torches in iron brackets. When a creature enters this tomb for the first time, the torches burst into flame and continue to burn until they are spent or extinguished. Examination of the skull and bones reveals that they are plaster facsimiles. K85. Sergei's Tomb. A portcullis is closed in the archway into this tomb. Lifting it requires a successful DC 25 strength check. White marble steps descend to a tomb that has a vaulted ceiling 30 feet overhead. A stillness, a calm amid the storm, is felt here. In the center of the tomb, a white marble slab supports an intricately inlaid coffin. Chiseled into the slab is the name Sergei von Zarevich. To the north, behind the coffin, are 3 alcoves. A beautifully carved statue stands in each alcove, a stunning young man flanked by 2 angels, looking as polished and new as the day each was placed there. An iron lever protrudes from the south wall, west of the tomb's entrance. Raising the lever lifts the portcullis at the top of the stairs. Pulling it down lowers the portcullis. The coffin opens easily to the touch of a lawful good creature. Otherwise, opening it requires a successful DC 15 strength check. Sergei's flesh has been magically preserved, and at first glance, it looks like he is sleeping in his casket. Treasure. Sergei's embalmed body is clothed in shining +2 plate armor. Fortunes of Ravenloft. If your card reading reveals that a treasure is here, it is inside the coffin next to Sergei's body. If your card reading indicates an encounter with Strahd in this area, he is lying across Sergei's coffin, weeping. K86, Strahd's Tomb. A heavy portcullis stands closed in the archway leading to this tomb. Lifting it requires a successful DC 25 strength check. Black marble steps descend to a dark tomb that has a vaulted ceiling 30 feet overhead. The essence of evil permeates the very air. The smell of freshly turned earth is here. Settled into the dirt on the floor is a shining black coffin of finely waxed wood. The coffin's fittings are of a brilliant brass, and the lid is closed. South of the coffin are 3 gloomy alcoves. An iron lever protrudes from the north wall, east of the tomb's entrance. Raising the lever lifts the portcullis at the top of the stairs. Pulling it down lowers the portcullis. Lying under the earth near the east wall of the tomb are 3 vampire spawn brides, dressed in soiled gowns and wearing dirt-encrusted jewelry. See treasure below. They rise to attack anyone who approaches Strahd's coffin. A detect magic spell reveals that the western and eastern alcoves radiate strong auras of conjuration magic. The central alcove is non-magical. Creatures that enter the western alcove are instantly teleported to the western alcove of Crypt 32 in area K84. Stepping into the eastern alcove has no effect, but any creature that teleports from the eastern alcove of Crypt 32 appears here. Treasure. Strahd lavished many fine gifts on his 3 brides. Ludmila Vilaselvic wears a soiled white wedding gown, a gold tiara worth 750 gold pieces, and 10 gold bracelets worth 100 gold pieces each. Anastasia Karolov wears a stained and tattered red wedding gown, a black and crimson silk-head scarf sewn with precious jewels worth 700 gold pieces, and a platinum necklace with a black opal pendant worth 1,500 gold pieces. Valentin Popovsky wears a faded gold wedding gown, a platinum mask vaguely shaped like a skull, 750 gold pieces, and 10 platinum rings set with gemstones, worth 250 gold pieces each. Teleport destination. Characters who teleport to this location from area K78 arrive at the bottom of the stairs, just inside the tomb. Fortunes of Ravenloft. If your card reading reveals that a treasure is in here, it lies in the center alcove. If your card reading indicates an encounter with Strahd in this area, he is in his coffin, ready to attack anyone who opens the lid. K87, Guardians. The following text assumes that the characters are approaching from area K84. If they approach this area from area K88, references to descending stairs should be changed to ascending stairs. Wide steps descend to a landing flanked by 2 alcoves. Within each alcove, taking up the full 30-foot height of the ceiling, is a bronze statue of a warrior holding a spear. A soft blue curtain of light flows between the 2 alcoves. Dimly visible on the other side of the curtain are more descending stairs. The curtain has no effect on creatures that move east to west, from area K88 to area K84. A creature of lawful good alignment that moves west to east through the curtain can do so without difficulty, but creatures of other alignments that do so are teleported back to the top of the stairs behind them. A small creature can squeeze behind and around one of the bronze statues to circumvent the light curtain. K88, Tomb of King Barov and Queen Ravenovia. This tomb rests in hushed silence. Tall stained glass windows dominate the eastern walls, allowing dim light to fall on 2 coffins resting atop white marble slabs. The one against the north wall is marked King Bara von Zarevich, and the one against the south wall is marked Queen Ravenovia van Ruyen. The vaulted ceiling 30 feet overhead is inlaid with a beautiful gold mosaic. The stained glass windows are so dirty on the outside as to be nearly opaque. The windows don't open, but they can be smashed easily. Anyone who looks upward through a window can see, 110 feet above, the Castle Stone overlook, area K6. Anyone who falls out a window here plummets almost 900 feet to the base of the Pillarstone of Ravenloft. Prying the gold from the ceiling of this tomb would be a long and tedious effort for little reward. The north coffin holds a beautifully sculpted, life-sized wax effigy of Strahd's father, King Barov. The old king's bones lie in a compartment beneath his effigy. The south coffin holds the skeleton of Strahd's mother, Queen Ravenovia. The magic that was meant to preserve her earthly remains failed years ago. A tattered white shroud covers her bones. Fortunes of Ravenloft. If your card reading reveals that a treasure is here, it lies atop Queen Ravenovia's coffin. If your card reading indicates an encounter with Strahd in this area, he is in a frenzy of rage and despair.